I said I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You know you make me wanna. Yeah, 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 right. Oh, right, oh, right. Come on now, come on now. Yeah, 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 yeah. Come on now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. All right. Live. Hi, welcome everyone. We back at it. Another exciting edition of Random Topic Thursdays, the hottest live stream in the cosmos. YouTube, Humble, all that other good stuff you ain't heard of. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking a lot about what's going on in the world. Because there's a lot that's happening in politics. Biden, he has had a very interesting week. Saturday getting shot at to Thursday now. President. All of this seems like it's has all of this seemed so. Of course, we're going to be talking about that, but I won't be talking about it alone. We're going to bring in our special guest, ladies and gentlemen. He has haven't seen him in a while, but he is the author of several books, including Man Price, as well as the John Haynes series, the Woman Prices on Amazon. Talking about Sean James, of course. Let's bring him in right now. Sean.
I'm here. How are you, Gavin?
I'm doing fine with brother. How you doing?
Having a hard time hearing you. The music is still playing in the back.
Yes, I have the music playing in the back. All right. How about now? Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, everybody was saying I had the music up loud, and then I guess with my mic, it's a little difficult to hear me, but that's a little bit better.
Well, it's a little bit better.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you do a plug-in?
All right. Well, the books of the SJS Direct 2024 catalog are now available on Amazon.com, and you can get all three of those books in paperback and Kindle format at Amazon.com and other online booksellers.
All right. Yeah, I know I'm doing the Michael Buffer. I got the mic right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for 12 rounds of YouTubing and live streaming. And, and with the two heavyweights here, we duking it out on a lot going on, Sean. A lot has happened. I haven't had you come on in the last few weeks, but I see that you've been good. I know you've been staying busy. And this thing, of course, that's been going on. Shout out to you. What's going on, Cheryl? What's up, Danielle? Please make sure you all are smashing up the likes. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, purchase. This past week was Dr. Bill Cosby's 87th birthday. I need you to go on Kindle and please pick up that book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby, The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. You'll love it. It's a real interesting book. The truth about what happened to Dr. Cosby and how he got railroaded in that kangaroo court and the attempts to destroy his legacy. But we can't let other groups tell us what we can and can't do, and who we are not supposed to celebrate, who we're not supposed to honor. And Dr. Cosby certainly is one of those icons who has put in the work for us. And as we've gotten older, what we see, what he was talking about with regards to uh, decency and degeneracy on TV and in pop culture, we see that now, right? We see what he was talking about, this come forward. And we're having a come forward moment right now, I think, in the world. The United States is at a standing point, is at a crossroads. Sean, you all saw what happened, obviously Saturday, unless you've been under a rock, what happened to Donald Trump, the attempted assassination that was foiled, the failure of the Secret Service. Let me just get your opinion quickly before we get to the two topics I want to talk about tonight, because I'm sure you know Thomas Matthews Crooks was identified as the attempted assassin, and on top of that, okay. Can anyone hear me? Testing 1 2 Test. Testing 1, 2. Can anyone hear me? You can hear me now. Sean, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Sean said my audio had gone out. And it looks like Sean can't hear me. Let me see. Bookie says he can hear me. But Sean's not responding. Sean, make sure.
All right, I hear you now.
Okay. Loud and clear? Loud and clear? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, there we go. All right, we're cooking with grease. Sean, I want to get your opinion before we talk about two topics. Of course, the main topic I want to talk about is Obama is telling Biden to stay your ass at home. And Trump is to accept the nomination for the Republican ticket for president 2024. There are more calls, of course, to call on Joe Biden to resign. But before we get into that, Sean, I want to get your thoughts on the attempted assassination on Saturday. What did you think of it? And also, what do you think or make of the Secret Service director? This is her here. Her name is Kimberly Cheadle. Now, she was a former secret agent, I believe, with President Clinton. She also was there with President Obama, rather. And it's rumored that she became close friends with Jill Biden, which is why she got the top job as a Secret Service director. So I want to know, what are your thoughts on her and what transpired on Saturday?
Well, what happened with her is basically cronyism and nepotism at play. This woman clearly wasn't qualified to be the Secret Service director based on the just inept security that happened at that Trump rally. And the fact that they want to keep this woman on really just shows how they're just favoring this woman based on just the nepotism and cronyism and not the merit of the job. And she basically put a former president's life in jeopardy to her incompetence, and she should be fired. But the whole thing is, because of that cronyism and because of gynocentrism, this woman is basically being given a pass after making a complete failure that would have gotten a man, especially a black man, fired. And she should have never been put in this job, because if you can't understand basically how to plan perimeter security, you shouldn't be in this job. I mean, this is the worst form of cronyism since Michael Brown took over FEMA years ago with Hurricane Katrina, and this woman should have never been put in this position at all. Now, this whole incident with the attempted assassination of Donald Trump was really sad and scary, but it was something that I saw coming, and that America is reaping what it sowed, later than what it sowed, greater than what it sowed, during the early days of the Obama years, when they started creating this inflammatory yellow journalism and rhetoric as related to the credibility of Barack Obama's citizenship. Now, that was spearheaded by Donald Trump, who planted those seeds way back in 2008 or so. And as those seeds were planted, we got this two-pronged assault, which was one to question the credibility of Barack Obama's citizenship, and the other was to start this inflammatory news cycle where we polarized American people. And as we polarized American people, instead of them thinking critically and objectively about facts presented to them, we got this sensationalized journalism, which went out here fanning the flames with radical rhetoric. And over the last 16 years of fanning those flames with that radical rhetoric, we've gotten people more and more polarized. And kids who grew up like this kid, whatever his name is, He basically, what they
Thomas
did,
Matthew
what
Crooks.
Thomas Crooks, they grew up in the internet age, watching all of this inflammatory rhetoric on places like YouTube and social media. Now, I know he doesn't have a social media account, but he possibly was watching YouTube, and the algorithm basically was feeding him information, misinformation. And as it fed him misinformation, he basically got like to the point where he was like a radical Islamic terrorist. And as he was polarized, he was looking to go out here and, as I see it, try to play this hero because of everything he heard bad about Donald Trump, and went out here to take action as related to this whole case. So basically, America is reaping what it sowed, later than what it sowed, greater than what it sowed, as related to the radical rhetoric they've been putting out here for years, whether it be against Barack Obama, whether it be against Donald Trump, whether it be against Joe Biden. The news media has been putting on this sensationalized radical media out here, and again, and stoking up people's emotions, getting them riled up. And then all of this was, they were being fed for years. And then eventually what happened was somebody like Thomas Crooks basically started to believe this information and believe they have justification to do harm to the former president, believed that because he heard all of this stuff, he needed to take action since all these things that were done against Donald Trump had failed. Jack Smith's case fell apart. The Supreme Court already gave President Trump some immunity, and the conviction against Alvin Bragg managed to get basically wound up falling apart, and Fannie Willis can't even get the case to trial. So he felt with everything falling apart, he needed to take action. And sadly, that's what he did, was take that action, not understanding that's not how our government works. And this is the type of behavior that happens when we create an extremist environment with extremist rhetoric. We wind up reaping what we sow, later than what we sow, greater than what we sow, with our children who grew up in this age of misinformation. And that's what happened with Thomas Crooks on last Saturday. We basically saw America reap what it sowed after years of radical rhetoric on both sides of the aisle. And that's what we saw in this whole case. And a lot of people really need to think about what we're putting out here and feeding children as related to our media. What we put out here and fed with our media is creating killers, creating mass shooters, creating guys like this, because they're not getting any sort of balanced, objective information. And instead of them getting balanced, objective information, they're running on misinformation, they're running on slanted rhetoric, and that's what's got them polarized to the point where they believe that they have to go to these extremes because we've been feeding them extreme information for far too long.
Stop for a second, Sean. Let me ask you this. People are speculating. I want to ask you, do you think this could have been some type of conspiracy?
No, I don't think it
Again,
was a conspiracy. I just think it was a misguided kid, like many, like Peyton Gendron and many of these white
well,
supremacists.
I mean the fact that the Secret Service, the way that they failed. Now, it's not uncommon. I mean, assassinations of world leaders or attempted assassinations happen all the time. Probably the last time we've had anything close to this was the Ronald Reagan incident in '81. But but do you think there could have been, and I'm speculating, I don't know for a fact, there could have been, you don't think there was a conspiracy? You think it was just ineptitude on the part of
I
the
think it
Secret?
was ineptitude because this woman, like Michael Brown, who came before her with Katrina, was inexperienced and didn't know the job. And I think that she left holes open that allowed this kid to come in. And it was really sad because this kid came in with rangefinders, with backpacks, things that you would be banned with coming to a certain event with. I mean, if you came here in New York to an event with a backpack and you had that kind of device, you'd be arrested almost immediately by NYPD. They would be like, this guy is suspect, something's wrong with him. But this
Well, here's
whole
the
thing,
problem with well, I'm gonna let you finish. I'm sorry, but I'm
the whole
gonna
thing is
tell you.
that this whole thing, again, it's ineptitude all around. And if this woman is allowed to keep her job, then you're going to have another situation like this. And that's where I think the problem really lies.
Well, here's the thing. I know with John F. Kennedy, that was a conspiracy. Uh, I showed a video where the Secret Service agents were doing their job when they got in, when the president and his wife and Governor Connolly and his wife were in a limo, and while he's holding the railing near the car, walking with the president, he's called off before he got into Dealey Plaza. So I've always believed, and the fact that there were no Secret Service agents in the area from the beginning by the president tells me enough that there was some type of conspiracy to kill the president. They were complicit in it. Now, I want to show you something. This clip. This is from CNN. Hold on. And fair use, by the way. This guy's name is Corey Mills. He's a U.S. Rep. I think he's a United States representative, senator, but he actually served in the Army in the 82nd Airborne, and he's a former sniper. I want y'all to listen very carefully to what he has to say. Hold on. Now, watch what Kate Bolden does when he starts talking.
Paradise. And we talk about ego sets. You also have, which no one talks about, but the water tower.
So
what I'm hearing from you is it's not a failure on.
Keep in mind something with regards to the presidency and so forth. And I pointed this out. When a president or former president, they all have to have Secret Service protection, right? So even a former president, when they're supposed to go to events like this out in the open, Sean, you are aware that the Secret Service flies out at least several weeks in advance to scan the area, make sure there's no where the security breaches are, where a president isn't lying in sight. So listen carefully what happens and watch what the CNN anchor does.
On the ground for sure, but it's also a failure in advance.
I think it's a failure in advance. I think it's a failure to have the counter snipers to be able to establish their range fit and their sketch maps.
I also heard we've also learned that local snipers were stationed inside that building.
I haven't heard that piece of it yet, but that doesn't necessarily make sense unless they were actually in a window which was backed off. Because a lot of times you get yourself in there. Sometimes you expose your rifle in a way to try and do a force protection or a show of force that actually stops things. Others are actually more tactical where they'll sit back a little bit. But a sniper for the law enforcement is only trained to shoot off 75 yards, unlike your counter sniper teams that are on sunset. But here's my problem. In having done this for so long, they always say the adage of ignorance is bliss, and I think that's true. I've done thousands of advances. I've done thousands of counter sniper operations with our teams in Iraq and Afghanistan, etc. The amount of negligence, the amount of mistakes that was made here, I have a very difficult time not leaning myself towards this was intentional as opposed to fecklessness.
But wait, talk to me about that. I actually heard you say this right the day after, which I wanted to ask you about.
Now, let me pause. He's a representative. Now, he is a former Army sniper, and there are different pictures, and he's going through how they protect the president and also what snipers are supposed to do, how you shoot from cover. That's one thing. And this fool, when he was shooting, he's on top of a roof with an AR-15. And the only thing that saved Trump was two things: good luck and the fact that this guy was a bad shooter.
What do you mean
Inexperience?
Intentional?
I
mean an intentional failure on the part of?
No, I wouldn't say an intentional failure on the part of, but I got to just, I sit here and I scratch my head. You don't want to be the conspiracist. You don't want to be the person.
I'm telling you, because that's what it's leaning toward.
No, I know. And that's the issue, is that you walk this fine balance of, you're not trying to be a conspiracist, but you look at it and you go, how could this have gone so?
But it's one thing if someone on the street says it. It's not. You, Corey Mills, member of Congress, former sniper, you saying it. It makes my eyebrows go up. When you say you're walking the line on this, intentional what?
It almost seems to me, and I think that an investigation is necessary at this point within Congress, not just the FBI, not just others. I look back at it and I'm thinking, all right, for an individual, if you look at the escalations and how they are trying to approach him, let's just say that it was like, okay, first we want to censor and silence you, then we want to indict and imprison you. Now we're attempting to kill you and take.
Whoa. Let's slow down.
Please.
I'm hearing two things from you. I don't want to jump ahead of things, but I'm also hearing you jumping ahead of things.
Well, actually, I'm just looking at all the different possible capabilities. One of the things as a military member, one of the things as a person who's running the special operations communities before, one of the people who's actually done this is that you look at all potential analysis, right?
Donald Trump and his team have said,
no, I agree.
Dial it back. Do not blame this on Joe Biden.
Oh, well, actually, I didn't say Joe Biden, to be completely.
Who's the guy? Let's be very specific.
Well, that's what the investigation has to do. Was it local law enforcement that had made the mistakes, or was there something to it? Was there other types of things that we need to be analyzing or looking at and providing analysis? My point is that
she said, don't you blame Joe Biden. You saw that?
Yeah.
She's being cautious. CNN is going through a scrubbing, but not that much. So that was interesting. So I wanted to play that for everybody, for those that haven't seen. And as we know, this director is still on. In fact, she got hounded. She was at the Republican National Convention, Sean. Let me just show you what happened there, because she got confronted by some of the senators and representatives that were there, and I want to show everybody this clip. So hold on. And Sean, then I'm gonna get your take on what the rep said. So here it is. Marsha Blackburn confronts her.
We were all in the queue trying to answer questions, and as we run out of questions, they hadn't. Every one of us had questions that we wanted to ask. We felt we didn't get any of the responses that were necessary from you. Very disappointed in your leadership. I have called for your resignation, and I'd rather you resign tonight or start answering our questions right now about the death threat to President Trump and allowing him to go on stage in Pennsylvania at a time when he'd already been alerted that there was somebody with the spotter, all these situations already identified an hour before, and you let him go on stage without the knowledge of him, the team on the ground, and you will put him within less than an inch of his life.
Watch this.
For full explanation to us right now.
We kept trying to get our questions in, and he never was running the file. It would not have been the director.
Gonna pull away. She's gonna run away like Jonathan Majors by that white woman in a second.
And at 5:51, according to the timeline of your deputy, you identified a potential threat. And then
Now she shakes her head. She doesn't say anything, but she's gonna take off in a minute.
Can you give us an explanation? Why would anyone allow a president to go on stage when you know that you've got a potential threat and you've got snipers that are trying to so I don't think that this is
No, we're going with you.
She takes off. She doesn't even answer, so they follow behind her.
Ask us. This is exactly what you're doing today.
You owe nothing. You owe President Trump answers.
They just guerrilla ambushed her, and they're walking up there. Then she's gonna close the door on them. So
you owe answers.
The House, the president, the past president, and you owe answers to the president should have this kind of protection.
they go in, and then they close the door.
I'm John Barrasso, chairman of the Senate Republican Conference. Senator Blackburn and I just went face-to-face with the director of the Secret Service, asking for specific answers about what happened with President Trump in Pennsylvania and how that shooter was able to get off a clear shot when the FBI and the Secret Service knew that there was a suspicious person an hour in advance of when the shooting occurred.
And they identified a potential threat at 5:51. She would not answer our questions. She wanted to say it was not the time or place. This is after we've been through a conference call today where the question queue got cut off. But I've got a message for her. She can run, but she cannot hide because the American people want to know how an assassination attempt was carried out on former President Donald Trump.
Yeah. So, Sean, I'll let you have the last word on it. What did you think of the videos?
Well, I look at that video and I just see a lack of accountability as related to the Secret Service, and that's very troubling. It should be troubling for Joe Biden and other members of the Blue Party, because if they can fail the president, that ex-president who's on an election, they can fail a sitting president and put their lives in jeopardy. I mean, when you have an incompetent person like this in charge of the Secret Service, it really is a major threat to national security. And this person should be going and resigning at this point, because this type of failure is unacceptable. And it looks like this woman is trying to just be kicked out of office and be fired. But this is something that's a threat to national security, and the president and people in his office need to take action immediately, because this person is not fit for office. If you can't take accountability for a mistake, and many women just can't take accountability for mistakes, and it's just time for her to go. And to duck these senators when asking you critical questions is a bad thing. And I don't know if it's a conspiracy or not, but it just seems plain old incompetence all around. If this is how the Secret Service is running things, then heaven help the next president, because she's going to get somebody killed based on the complete incompetence here.
Wait, Sean, you don't think it's a woman thing, are you? You just said that women don't take responsibility.
No, this woman looks like typical classic. She's a cronyist hire, and crony hires are not really good and qualified at their jobs. And she just is not very qualified for this position. Again, it's Michael Brown and FEMA all over again. And it's Michael Brown and FEMA, and this woman is not qualified for this position. I mean, if you had this information in advance, I mean, this guy was running around this area in this perimeter, and nobody checks him. I mean, just incompetence all around. This guy should have been dealt with immediately. Thomas Cook shouldn't even gotten that far in the first place.
Yeah. So right now, let's get into it, Sean. They're talking about, so our main topic for the night. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button right now. Do it, do it, do it. That's a way to beat the algorithm. Make sure you do it. We need more people in here. We got Cheryl the Pearl, Danielle. We got Bookie the Realist. I got to do a plug-in right quick. Guys, as y'all know, if you're in the Louisiana area this weekend, we have our comedy show. It's always at The Verdict. It is the Great American Laughs. At The Verdict, ladies and gentlemen, we got a great lineup. We have Troy Duchesne, who is your headliner. We also have Terry Scott. I got Marcus Bond, great comedians, guys, who are going to be out there. And look, if you, we might even have a few drop-ins come in. So it's going to be an awesome night of comedy. You can actually get those tickets right now at Eventbrite if you're going to be in the Louisiana area. And look, if you don't even don't plan to be in the Louisiana area, if you just want to support the family, look, you can buy a ticket. I'm not going to hold that against you. Just buy a ticket to support. That's one way to support me, this channel. If you're not able to be there physically, you can buy one and ticket. Here is the flyer for the show. So we've been on here for 2 years on Eventbrite. Jeez, I can't believe it. But yeah, come on in. I'm going to put the link in the chat. The link is in the chat. So let's talk about our main topic. Of course, we're talking about Joe Biden. Now, let's switch to Joe Biden. So earlier, Biden was supposed to make a speech, but couldn't come out because I'm sure you have heard, Sean, he has COVID. So he's at home resting. And there are people already that are calling for him to step down. Now, I want y'all to listen to something. So first off, this is a clip. Apparently he had so he was about to kiss another woman. He thought it was his wife. Admiral Tuck Benson from Top Hot Shots. Now, this happened earlier. There's a clip of Biden where he's talking about losing support among black voters. And I want y'all to listen to the clip. I'm just playing it for the first time.
I think that,
Fair use.
and one thing does change, it's not an excuse and explanation. I would ordinarily be going through black neighborhoods on the foot, working through the neighborhoods. I have a tradition. I close every campaign, no matter what campaign, going into the projects and going down the east side. And hey, Joe, well, how you doing? You know, they would, well, just because they're my friends, let them know I'm still there. We can't do that now. Not because of the Black community, because it's too dangerous for me to be out walking around a company. So what I'm doing now is trying to keep in touch with as many of my Black constituents and letting people know that I'm available. I'm available. It's a reason why I got involved in politics in the first place. Not a joke. Not a joke. Everybody deserves a shot. Everybody deserves a shot. And we've demonstrated, you give them a shot, they step up. They step up in every community. That's why the Black community is doing as well as it is now. And it's going to do better.
Now, this was on BET. I think that's Ed Gordon that's interviewing him. This is the same guy who's 4 years ago, he said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. He told Charlemagne that. Charlemagne the God. And he told Ed Gordon, let's not forget about reparations. It depends on how much it is and if the Native Americans are involved. That's basically a no, is what that means. And so you saw that, Sean. He says he can't walk the projects in the Black neighborhoods anymore, although he damn sure made it clear he didn't want his kids going there. When he was a senator back in the Senate, he didn't want forced integration. Remember that?
Yeah.
So has he changed? No. And is he going to do anything if he gets in? Of course not. But there are a lot of people that think Joe Biden shouldn't run for president. And Sean, I want you to look at this video. So former President Barack Obama is telling Joe Biden that he doesn't have faith in him anymore. And he thinks it's wise he should step down because his chances of winning are going to likely diminish. So let's play this clip courtesy. This is coming out of ABC 7 in Chicago.
President Obama has told allies that President Biden needs to seriously consider the viability of his candidacy. For now, the Biden campaign insists the president will be back on the campaign trail as soon as he can. Meantime, Vice President Harris was at a rally today blasting J.D. Vance.
The camera phones were up as the spotlight continues to focus on Kamala Harris, while President Biden gets more pressure to drop out. At a campaign stop in Fayetteville, North Carolina, the vice president aggressively responded to Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance's speech last night at the Republican convention, as Harris doubted Vance's claim of unity.
You cannot claim you stand for unity if you are pushing an agenda that deprives whole groups of Americans of basic freedoms, opportunity, and dignity.
Harris is doing the talking today as President Biden is recovering from COVID at his home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. The White House releasing a letter from the president's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, says Biden is experiencing mild symptoms. Meantime, it's being reported that former President Obama has told allies that Biden's path to victory has greatly diminished.
I think all this is being driven by the fact that donations are drying up. Polling numbers are going wholly in the wrong direction.
Chicago area Congressman Mike Quigley is one of the first in Congress to call for the president to drop out of the race. He says the president is down in the polls in over 10 swing states, which can have a big effect on down ballot races. Quigley says up until recently, he does not believe Biden was receiving accurate information from his staff about the polls.
I believe that the president was cloistered. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the campaign disregarded all the bad news.
White House officials say as soon as the president recovers, he will be back on the campaign trail. So will Governor J.B. Pritzker, who has been serving as a surrogate for Biden.
I went to Ohio and Indiana last weekend to campaign for President Biden, Vice President Harris, and I'm going to continue to do that. He's apparently going to be our nominee.
And as politicians say, you're a candidate until you're not a candidate. So planned campaign events will go on. Meantime, more top Democrats are worried a Biden loss could also mean a Republican sweep in the House and the Senate.
They are running with fear. They know the jig is up. Sean, do you think Biden is going to step down? A lot of people are saying the top Democrat leaders are asking him to step down. Former presidents have asked him. On top of that, you know that, I don't know if you noticed, but it came out that some of the top PAC donors, remember George Clooney a week ago put out an op-ed in the New York Times saying Biden should step down. But they have donors who are not giving any money to these Democratic PACs unless Biden steps down.
Well, I don't think Biden stepping down is going to have any change of anything, because the problem is the Blue Party has been running on a fantasy land for the last 4 years. They've basically ignored and alienated the black vote. They basically have no real direction or plan or vision they want to go into. The only argument they have is they are not Donald Trump, and you can take Joe Biden out of the picture, but you still have the same dysfunction. I mean, I don't believe Joe Biden can step down at this point, or it would have any impact at all. Even if he did step down, the Blue Party's poll numbers are bad because the economy that they ran straight into the ground with their high taxes and not really doing anything about inflation or even caring about the needs of the average everyday American, that's all there. And the thing is, you can take Joe Biden out of the race, but Joe Biden's policies basically are the thing that's going to do him in. And Trump can still run and say that he is not going to implement Biden's failed policies, because it's Biden's failed policies that are going to be the thing that does in the Democratic Party. I mean, it doesn't matter if Biden is there or not. It's his policies that are the problem. He was the one who opened up the border. He was the one who basically made life just miserable by going out here and canceling things like the Keystone Pipeline and other things, all to spite Donald Trump. And him stepping down, it doesn't matter who you get, they're going to have to run on a failed record. And again, it's just the same thing that happened with Hillary. She had to run on Obama's failed record. And the sad thing is, history is repeating itself. And many of these politicians can't really see the big picture. It doesn't matter if you run Kamala Harris. It doesn't matter if you run Adam Schiff. It doesn't matter if you run a chimp in a tuxedo. It doesn't matter who you run. The whole thing is the Blue Party has run the country into the ground. And most Americans are tired of the Blue Party, and they're tired of the Blue Party's dysfunctional, backwards policies. And Joe Biden was part of the architect of those policies. And again, if you run, you're running on his record, and that's the worst thing anybody would want to run in, because that basically makes you into a jobber.
Mm-hmm. They're withholding $90 million promised for Biden. Latest debate fallout, and I don't see him stepping down. But here's the thing: if he steps down, Kamala Harris automatically becomes president of the United States by a rule of succession, right? She's the vice president. You honestly
think her record is worse than his is.
Yeah. You honestly think people are going to vote for her against Donald Trump?
No.
I have people, I got to say this. I'll say this. The level of cooning I've seen over this Joe Biden from different celebrities and people that are standing with the Democratic Party, no matter what, the vote blue, no matter who. You've seen this?
That's stupid. Why would I vote blue when they're not doing anything for you?
Yeah. Vote blue no matter who. Well, that's because we've been trained to fearmonger. You know, Joy Reid can't fearmonger anymore. As TD Hip Hop pointed out in one of his latest videos, she was upset because after the attempted assassination of Trump, they had to be careful with their words on MSNBC. I don't know if you saw that. They couldn't say what they wanted. They actually took Morning Joe off because Morning Joe is known to be very critical of Trump. So they took them off the air because they felt they weren't part of it, but to keep them from going it. But yeah, and people calling about we want Kamala Harris. Remember when last year at Essence when she came, they booed her when she's on screen. and walking out when she came on. She came down for Essence because they were trying to get her to vote, but she is only black when it's convenient.
Yep.
She panders, and we got Negroes that fall for that, is the point I'm saying. We got Negroes that fall for that. Oh, we don't want you. We don't want this. Now, I mean, they don't understand how voting works. It's quid pro quo. You get, in order to get give something, you got to get something in return. And people don't realize that.
Nope.
You have, but Obama, you're about to say something, Sean.
No, I'm just listening.
Obama is saying he needs to step down. He's telling his former vice president to reconsider. Pelosi talking about it. And Pelosi, you know, she's in her 80s. Maxine Waters is in even her late 80s. Maxine Waters was even going hard why Joe shouldn't step down. I'm older than him, and I'm still doing this. Maxine Waters has been the representative of one of the poorest districts out of California. She hasn't been good. What's going on, Shannon? But I want to go to, so yeah, Obama saying this. What do you think of his comments?
Well, I think he just is one of these guys who wants to toe the party line. And with Obama, he's basically turned his back on his running mate. And again, basically, it's just playing politics. And this is the sad part about Barack Obama and the Blue Party. They're a fair weather friend to Joe Biden. But the whole thing is Joe Biden's basically reaping what he sowed, later than what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, because he did a lot of people dirty. And now he's being done dirty by Barack Obama, being done dirty by Barack Obama and the Blue Party, as they basically toss his old behind in the road and continue to look to move on.
Yeah. Did you see, and I'm sure you're going to do a video, did you see Amber Rose speak at the Republican National Convention?
No, I haven't seen anything. I have been too busy working.
Okay. Well, when you ever get a chance, go see it, because her and Joy Reid, she went at it at Joy Reid because Joy Reid accused her of not being black and speaking at a convention that she had no business speaking there. And Amber Rose clapped back saying you can't be a race baiter. So you should just check it out.
Wow, two bootlicks going at it. This should be interesting.
That's what I say. One to the left and one to the right, huh? So we're going to go to the Republican National Convention now. Someone asked if Biden steps down, will Kamala run? Oh, you mean, are you saying Kamala run as the presidential candidate? She may very well try. I mean, look, she's going to be if he steps down, what might likely happen is this. He may say he won't run for president, but he's not going to step down in his final year. So he would stay, if he doesn't drop out of race, he'll stay put. But Kamala may run, because I don't see herself I don't see her wanting to stay as vice president if Joe Biden wasn't going to stay. And I don't think she's going to get the votes that she wants because nobody's going to support her. But honestly, they want to push to have, I think that governor out of California, Newsom,
he's worse than Harris.
Yes, he is. You don't want him. Too far left with stuff. So right now, Donald Trump Jr., I think, is speaking at the Republican National Convention. We could take a look at this. Do y'all know, Sean, did you also know the New York Post regarding that Secret Service director? That whole editorial took out a paper saying she needed to be fired.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the editorial board, I talked about it on Tuesday. The entire editorial board said that. And I'm bringing this up because I just so happened to be on YouTube. I switched to the YouTube page of the New York Post, who is covering the RNC.
I love my Florida delegation right here.
And this is what do I think of Dr. Shiva?
My father stands before you with the most votes of any Republican candidate in the history of our nation.
Forgive my ignorance. Who is Dr.
He has
Shiva?
defied the...
You know who that is?
I have no idea.
I do know Trump picked J.D. Vance to be his vice presidential candidate, his nominee. He's a young guy who's a millennial. Excuse me. He's a millennial. So that might be key. So we got Trump. So the speech, the catchphrase is "Make America Great Once Again." So Trump's getting ready, I guess, to come out. It'll probably be a little bit after 9 o'clock when he accepts. What do you think his speech will be like?
I have no idea. It might possibly be with a lot of, he might be toning things down after this assassination attempt, but he will be, again, putting out his usual talking points like the border and other issues. And the whole thing is he's not going to be talking about anything regarding foundational Black Americans. And that's why I really can't say that I say anything really about him on any side, because nobody's talking about Black agenda or tangibles at all. So I got really not much really interest in hearing anything unless you want to talk about that.
I was going to show everybody, I guess, about it, what was going on today. That's why I have it in the topic, but we may not get all the way into it. I know. We're going to watch. Why don't we watch a little bit of it as we're talking right now? I'm going to fast forward through it and we'll just listen in, okay? We'll see some of it.
In spite of where we are today as a nation, I'd like to speak to every American. To the homeless veteran sleeping under a bridge as illegal immigrants are housed in the most expensive hotels in New York. I'm sorry.
That part true?
I know it's wrong. And we will.
That is true.
We're going to begin the greatest mass deportation in the history of America. It's true.
I'm sorry. It does not have to be this way. To the parents who lost a son or daughter to fentanyl, including the incredible woman that spoke the other night, while an administration does absolutely nothing, I'm sorry. Your government can do so much better, and it will. To the children who are being brainwashed instead of learning the fundamentals in school, I'm sorry. There are teachers who care, and my father will empower them.
How you going to do that?
To the law enforcement officers, our brave Border Patrol, Secret Service agents who work every single day to protect our communities, knowing damn well that the system will throw you under the bus, I'm sorry. We will stand behind you. To commuters often petrified to take a bus, take a train, or walk the streets in cities across our nation, I'm sorry. That man right there will fix this. To the construction workers, to the middle-class families, to the families with children with disabilities, families who can no longer afford medical benefits or to take a vacation, I'm sorry. We will make America great again. And to my father, who has been ruthlessly silenced, slandered, and attacked by a corrupt administration, I'm sorry. We know, and America knows, that they're not just after you, they're after all of us, and you just happen to be standing in their way.
That's right, son. Make me proud. That's right, clap to me. Now.
To all Americans watching tonight, the greatest retribution will be our success. Success not just for ourselves, but for our grandchildren and our children. Under President Donald J. Trump, the swamp will be drained. America will be respected. Our cities will be safe. Our streets will be clean. And our border will once again be secure. We will have peace. We will have prosperity. Your hard-earned tax dollars will enrich a better America, not be squandered in corrupt foreign nations. Education will be handed back to the states. We will no longer be 30th in the world. We will be first. Our children will understand family, our children will have values, and our children will love God. Our country will prioritize free speech, respect freedom of religion, and honor our Constitution. As his son, I've never been more proud in my life. A man who has defied all odds more than once. A man who believed in the promise of America when others turned away. A man who saw a nation in need of a champion and answered that call with unwavering determination and courage. A man who survived a bullet that was intended to eliminate him permanently from our future and from our family. Never have I been more proud to be a Trump. Never have I been more proud to stand by my father's side. I remain incredibly honored to be part of this journey, a journey with all of you, a journey to save the greatest country on earth, a journey with the most incredible people I have ever met. Dad, 5 days ago, Laura, Luke, Carolina, and I held our breath as we saw blood pour across your face. By the grace of God, divine intervention, and your guardian angels above, you survived.
Fair use. Fair use. I had the playback speed.
You are the greatest fighter I have ever seen.
So it'll
You are
switch every
strong.
now
You are
and then.
full of life, and you are unapologetic. Your optimism is contagious. Your backbone is
Thanks,
unbreakable.
Dawn is sleeping.
Your
No,
conviction
I'm all
to
right. I'm all
fight
right.
for what is right and against
All right, don't
all
worry,
that is
Sean. We ain't
wrong
gonna keep it on too
is
long.
truly next
I
level.
wanted to show if we could talk about it. Yeah. Come on. I like how you tried to fake it, man. Come on, it's all right.
The whole world saw your strength as you stood up.
I know
You
what
wiped the
you're
blood off
for.
your face.
Come on.
And you put your fist in the air in a moment that will be remembered as one of the most courageous acts in the history of American politics. You shouted, "Fight, fight, fight!"
You think it's a wrap? You think Trump's already won you? Think he's won?
Not yet.
I'm honored to be your son. I'm honored to speak to our great nation tonight.
You don't
You
think
are
he's
a
gonna
true
beat
leader.
Biden?
You
He
epitomize strength.
could beat Biden easily.
Our country loves you.
Yeah.
Our country appreciates you. Our country misses you. And on November 5th, our country will re-elect you as the 47th President of the United States of America. Good night, Milwaukee.
You say 47.
God bless you all.
But technically, I'll still be 45, always in Trevor. It'll be terrific. We got 23 people in here. Sean, do you have to run? You gotta do another work on the book.
Yeah, I got to go and work on another book.
Okay. While we waiting on a break, hold on. I don't want to get a copyright strike for this music, but why don't you tell us what your next books are going to be about?
Well, the next book is for 2025. That's the one I'm working on right now. It's called Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. It's a book about the year 2000, a great year that everybody loves to remember, and Spinsterella going to do goth modeling. And after that, I've got to work on the Isis and John Haynes books. I've got the Esteem book ready to go. But the 2024 catalog is currently on Amazon.com. And you can get those books, Isis, Dark Incubus, John Haynes, Illuminati, and Esteem Horror in the Hamptons right now in paperback and Kindle format and at Amazon.com. You can find all those books in digital format at other online booksellers.
All right. I just want to. That's cool. That's very cool, Sean. Before you leave, though, I want to point to something. Nothing has been written in stone, people, but already, yeah, that speech would put you to. Someone said, Cheryl said the speech would put you to sleep.
Yeah.
Be like Sean. At least he wasn't like Andrew the last time. Andrew was snoring on here when we had him on. I just Googled this, but New York Times has stated people close to Biden appears to accept he may leave the race. Now, this has not been official yet. He's not been replaced, but they're saying several people close to President Biden said on Thursday that they believe he has begun to accept the idea he may not be able to win in November and may have to drop out of the race, bowing to the growing demands of many anxious members of his party. One of the people close to him warned that the president had not yet made up his mind to leave the race after 3 weeks of insisting that almost nothing would drive him out. But another said that reality is setting in, and it would not be surprised if Mr. Biden made an announcement soon endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris as his replacement. That's going to be something to see.
That's going to be the end of the Democrats this year.
Yeah.
They went from bad to worse.
But you know you're gonna get Roland Martin and others that are gonna go beep beep beep. Y'all better get y'all ass and get the first beep 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 beep, aka up in there. Get that AKA up in the White House. Beep 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 beep
No
beep.
thanks. Don't need an Obama in a skirt.
Yeah. All right. Well, Sean, if you gotta leave, go ahead and leave, man. I know you're getting tired.
All right. Well, I'll see you all at the next show.
All right. I was trying to see if Trump was gonna say anything, but yeah. Shout out to Sean. Sean, I didn't want him falling asleep again on our watch here, people. I was gonna show obviously the rest of the RNC if you all were gonna wait for it. If y'all not, we can, but we're gonna wait. A lot of people alive. Oh, of course, Hulk Hogan would be here. Hulk Hogan is at the RNC. I want to show y'all. Yeah, Hogan is at the RNC. That makes sense. This racist bastard. Yeah, Hogan is there. Hold on. Shout out to Judge and Dana. Yeah, Hogan's there. This is where Dana's watching. She must be watching on the Forbes uh web YouTube page because I recognize it. I was watching on New York Post. But yeah, he was there. There's no surprise. But again, nothing's been official. I don't know if Biden is going to step down yet. He seems very arrogant. But now here comes Melania Trump, and looks like I guess she's going to interview, bring up Donald. So Hogan is not here. I'll be right back, y'all. Hold on. Give me 1 second. This is fair use, by the way. It's for news coverages and purposes only. It's going to be terrific. Make sure you smash up the likes. How we doing, Rumble over there? Drop something in the Cash App. Drop something in the Super Chat, please. If you subscribe to the channel, you can drop something. You can be a contributor to our channel. I'm actually going to share the link right now for you all.
Is uniquely American, is the ideals and freedoms we all cherish. A story of a life dedicated to dreaming big. A story about giving back to the people in his beloved city. But most of all, this is a story about putting his country first. And it's a story best told in pictures. Young and confident, Donald Trump wasn't afraid to think big and build even bigger. And he left his mark on the New York skyline that greeted visitors from around the world. But he wasn't just an American entrepreneur. He became a folk hero. Celebrities and sports stars wanted to be seen with him. Politicians sought his approval. And New Yorkers just loved him. And he loved them back. And he gave back. Just one example, saving the Woolman skating rink.
The Woolman skating rink in Central Park is open again. The city spent nearly 6 years and $12 million trying to fix it. And then to the rescue, developer Donald Trump. As Tracy Egan tells us now, he accomplished in 3.5 months what the city couldn't do in 6 years.
Donald, you performed a great public service.
There was no denying that Donald Trump was the toast of the town, but he was also something even more important, a patriotic American. And like many others, he was becoming increasingly troubled by the direction of our country.
Because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off.
But who would ever run for president and leave such a glamorous life? Appearances in movies, best-selling books, a widely popular TV show. But for Donald J. Trump, the calling to save his country was even stronger. The mission, more important. The number of Americans being left behind, too large. And so, in Donald Trump fashion, he announced he was running for president, in it to win. And he did.
From his first day in office, the Washington politicians learned something about President Trump. He's not afraid to fight for what he believes in. They call that having the courage of your convictions. First up, the Trump tax cuts, largest in America's history, and it led to higher take-home pay for working families. Unfortunately, today, taxes are up and incomes down. The politicians just never learn. Next for President Trump, secure our border. Check. Miles and miles of wall built. ISIS and other terrorists deterred. But now, we have the Barney Fife of border security, leading to 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl coming in. Brutal migrant crime spreading across America. And ISIS now here. President Trump promised he'd keep America out of endless wars. Welcome words to the families of our young men and women who serve. And another promise kept. He started by strengthening our military, then traveled the world, meeting with our allies, and even with our main adversaries, just so they understood that America's strength and resolve was back. Because that's what a strong commander-in-chief does. And it led to a stable world at peace and our troops safe. Today, a different story. Our enemies smelled weakness, then set the world on fire. Putin saw it, then invaded Ukraine. Hamas saw it, then started a war in the Middle East. There's one more thing we've learned about President Trump. He believes so strongly in America, so optimistic for our possibilities, and so committed to fighting to once again make our country great, that there is nothing that is going to stop him.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kid Rock.
This racist piece of shit. I gotta mute this because I don't want. They're gonna put a copyright strike on it. Confederate Kid Rock. So they got Kid Rock performing. I'm just wondering what other people are saying right now. I'm actually gonna stop sharing the screen with someone here. I don't even want to play that. Hold on. I'm just listening. I'm listening. I'm talking to y'all, and we're listening to Judge Joe Brown. He's talking about. Uh, that's right. They all the money that was raised, they raised with Kamala Harris being a part of that. So if they kick her out, are they gonna give the money back? They're gonna have to give the money back, right? No, well, he's still performing. I'm listening to Judge Joe. Y'all can listen.
And then you have the various
I'm
shades
even wearing the same
color
color
that you
style
have.
shirt
So
here.
yeah, they
Let me
can
see
all
if I got
interbreed,
my
so
head
they're
on.
one species.
We all
And just
certified.
FYI, guys, the reason why I muted
Hands
because
hand
I don't
up.
know if this will be considered
Let it
copyright
be sissy
because this is
bitches.
his song that
Think
he's singing,
otherwise.
even though he's singing it live. So that's why I'm just muting his performance. And I'm glad I am muting it because I'm not into Kid Rock, but this mainly for copyright purposes.
Well, of course,
It doesn't really have anything to do with the subject at hand.
You don't
which
want
is
I'm
who's going to be in charge of America's soul.
So I officially look like the
to answer that question, I think we
got
are
here
in
today.
charge of that. We the people.
Oh.
Yeah, but we the people are supposed to be in charge. They can be in charge, but too often they neglect it. And America has an
got
old
to get
saying that
kids
says
on.
you get the
America
representation
is
you
fundamentally
deserve.
screwed up
Representation
with
isn't
these
worth a
systems
damn. It's
business
because the people
coming
aren't
on
worth a damn.
here.
They aren't doing their job.
They don't have a damn clue of what to do in this country, which is why we are where we are, because this punk ass Biden and that cum Queen Harris, who's got no clue, no judiciary functioning. She was Attorney General. She was Attorney General, couldn't do a damn thing. Everybody's saying Joe stepped down. Yeah, so I got multiple things when I'm looking on YouTube or news. This hasn't been official yet. So I don't know why people are saying Joe Biden is agreeing to step down. It hasn't happened yet. Willie D's got something about him stepping down. Dana said he's stepping down. I haven't seen it. It's not official until he goes and gives a statement. There's pressure on him for sure. But it hasn't been official. I always wait till it's official. But everything on Google, guys, you just type this in, has Joe Biden stepping, what happens if Joe Biden steps down? Biden is out. So I just did a Biden is out. And look what's all has popped up from the New York Times to the Atlantic. They wrote the end of Biden's candidacy approaches. What happens next if Biden bops out? Democrats brace for the possibility that the president will step down. Someone says we're close to the end. Panic is spreading. And as Marvin Gaye would write, only God knows where we're heading. That's right. I used to hang out with Marvin Gaye at UCLA. Marvin used to go around sleeping with Frida and Pam Grier and all of the folks up there. I wasn't invited to them freak. I was invited to them freak shows, but I didn't do that. They wanted to show. I was invited to a Sylvester party. I said, hell no. They said Sylvester had a trick where he could suck a rock out of a balloon. I was like, oh, hell no. They say such is the end. I mean, they only expect, and here's the problem, guys. They've only expect to raise 25% of the big donor money. If they're withholding, the problem is the Democratic donors are withholding millions of dollars. When they withhold millions of dollars like that, money makes the world go round. So naturally, you follow the money, you see who runs things. That's what's going on. It's all about money. But we know he's not going to do that. Trump is not going to do it either.
I know he's running for president to save our American dream. I'm living the American dream, and I know the American dream is very real. Whether you were born in this country or came here from someplace else, this is the last real land of opportunity. President Reagan once said, Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. And if you're buried in government red tape, how will you ever start your own business? If you're struggling to pay your bills, how can you ever afford to start a family? And if you don't feel safe in your own town, why would you ever buy a house? I know that President Trump is fighting to save the American dream, and that's what's at stake in this election. We are choosing who we want to lead us in this fight. I know President Trump is a proven leader, a fearless leader, and this country was in a much better place when he was in the Oval Office. In my mind, the choice is clear. But this election, we all get to choose. I know I'm going to choose strength and security. I know I'm going to choose opportunity and prosperity. I know I'm going to choose real American leadership and a real American badass. And I'm not telling you what choice to make, and I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. I know America needs a strong leader, and the world needs a strong America. I know Donald J. Trump is the best choice for President of the United States. My fellow Americans, it is my honor to introduce the 45th and soon-to-be 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Yes, you gotta introduce me. Come on. I'm set to speak. I appreciate that. Proudly speak. That was a beautiful speech by Dana White. It's wonderful. It's gonna be terrific. But of course, I gotta mute this.
And I had to start again. Just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky star.
It's going to be terrific. Thank you, lucky stars. Don't be rude. I don't even know who these guys are, but it sounds perfect the way they're singing. It's that lame white boy music. That was Dana White speaking. The light bulb hitch. Yes, I'm here. So is my ear. Look.
Detroit to Houston.
Thank you. Thank you. I took that bullet like Tupac and 50 Cent, but I should have came out. I apologize because 50, he's one of my few black friends. And of course, we love his music. Maybe I should have came out to Many Men. Maybe I should have had him perform. It probably would have been terrific. Because many men have wished death upon me, and it's frankly rude. It's frankly rude. What the hell is that? They brought the Buffalo Park.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Wow. And thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob. And thank you, Lee, right from the beginning. Thank you very much. What a talent. What a beautiful, beautiful song. Thank you. Friends, delegates, and fellow citizens, I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Together, we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we will do it right. We're going to do it right. Let me begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday.
That's right. No.
As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened. And you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing and the campaign was doing really well.
Danielle, talk about Dana
I
White.
went to the stage and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it.
We're very grateful.
Behind me
Terrific.
and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. and moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage.
Let's see if he's going to go in on the Secret Service director.
These are great people.
These are great.
At great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual. This massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely, but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper, and then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason
I wonder if he's going to talk
that they
about
didn't
the man
move.
who was
The reason
killed
is that they knew I was
saving
in
his
very
daughter.
serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood.
Saw the blood.
And thought, actually, most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but they just...
I'm already
They just,
looking
this
to
beautiful
sit up.
crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces. They're incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance, with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be
Not
here.
supposed to be here.
No. Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over, but I could see it. I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight."
Fight, fight, fight. Dugawa. Dugawa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once my clenched
This wasn't terrific.
fist went up, and it was high into the air. You've all seen that. The crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like it. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey Comparator. Unbelievable person, everybody tells me. Unbelievable. And seriously wounded. Two other great warriors, spoke to them today. David Dutch and James Copenhaver. Two great people. I also spoke to all three families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters and still are. But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly
Incredible. It was
respected
bad.
former fire chief,
It was totally
respected by
terrific.
everybody. Was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman. I spoke to her today, devastated, and two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly acting as
There
a
you go.
human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was.
That's the fire chief. That's his uniform, I think they brought out.
I want to thank the fire department and the family for sending his helmet, his outfit, and it was just something, and they're going to do something very special
Corey
when they get it. But we did something
Comparatore.
which cannot match what happened,
Comparatore.
not even close.
He was also
And
an
I am
Army
very proud to
reservist,
say that over the
volunteer
past few
firefighter.
days, we've raised $6.3 million for the families of David, James, and Corey, including from a friend of mine just called up. He sent me a check right here. I just got it. $1 million from Dan Newland. Thank you, Dan. And again, when speaking to the family, I told them, I said, well, going to be sending you a lot of money, but it can't compensate. They all said the same thing. You're right, sir. We appreciate so much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Corey and the other two. By the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they're doing very well. They're going to be okay. They're going to be doing very well. They're warriors. So now I ask that we observe a moment of silence in honor of our friend Corey. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. This is the spirit that forged America in her darkest hours. And this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness. This is what we need. Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this room. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our resolve is unbroken and our purpose is unchanged to deliver a government that serves the American people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because our vision is righteous and our cause is pure. No matter what obstacle comes our way, we will not break, we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country. Never. And everything I have to give with all of the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. We're going to turn our nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. This election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again. In an age when our politics too often divide us, now is the time to remember that we are all fellow citizens. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we must not criminalize dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy. Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country. And very big news, as you probably just read, on Monday, a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida, Eileen Cannon,
Judge who's
finding
been my
that the
pocket.
prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional, and the entire case was thrown out of court. With all of that publicity, thrown out of court. If Democrats want to unify our country, they should drop these partisan witch hunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway.
You're going to win.
But worthy of our people. On this journey, I am deeply honored to be joined by my amazing wife, Melania. And Melania, thank you very much. You also did something really beautiful, a letter to America calling for national unity, and it really took the Republican Party by surprise. I will tell you, it was beautiful. In fact, some very serious people said that we should take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor, wouldn't it? Right, Mr. Congressman? But it captivated so many, so I also want to thank my entire family for being here. Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, Eric and Lara, Tiffany and Michael, Barron, we love our Barron. And of course, my 10 wonderful grandchildren. You saw a few of them up there on my lap before.
Up there on my lap.
And how good was Dana? Was Dana good? I mean, was he good? He was on probably the only vacation he's had in about, maybe ever, because he works, but about 10 years with his wife, very far away. I won't tell you where, but very, very far away, beautiful place. And my people called and he said, yeah, I won't be able to do it. This is many, many years. I promised my wife I can't do it. And they came in, they said, Dana won't be able to do it because he was my first, second, and third choice. I said, well, that's too bad, but I understand he's away and it's good. It's good for him. And that was it. About 30 minutes later, she came back in, sir, Dana just called. He's going to do it. And his wife, she said, you can't turn him down. You just can't do it. You have to go. That's a good wife. So he got on a plane. He got here a little while ago. Now he's going to get on the plane in a little while and he's going to go back home to his wife. But they're great. And I just want to thank her and him and their whole family because that's not easy. And Kid Rock, same thing. Called, he said, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part because, Kid does his great song, Big, Big Monster song. I had no idea. He became a friend of mine over the last 10 years. And he's amazing. Everyone loves him. I didn't even know how big he was. He has rallies, 35, 40,000 people he gets every time he goes out.
40,000 people.
I think he's making so much money, he doesn't know what the hell to do with it. You want to know? And then we have my other friend, and I've known him so long, and we took that song, and it was a big success, but we made that. I saw a chart of great songs to America. That was #1 on the chart recently, #1. So that's Lee Greenwood, a very special, beautiful person. He's a beautiful man.
It's all beautiful. Don't you agree?
But they all wanted to be here. They called. And how about the Hulkster? How good was he? Is he up? Where is he? Boy, oh boy. They may call that entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience, I say maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun. I will tell you, I watched it many times. There aren't a lot of entertainers that can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by Eric. What was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here. But he was so great, and he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of trouble, and Don last night was incredible. They went through so much trouble. They got subpoenaed more than any people probably in the history of the United States. Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them in all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. But the time that you have to spend, if they would devote that genius to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country. And Jason, the biggest star in country music. Jason, thank you for being here. Jason, thank you very much. Jason Aldean, he's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. She's here. Thank you, Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a new friend and partner fighting by my side. The next Vice President of the United States, the current Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance. And
J.D. Vance, I think he's terrific. Come on.
He's going to be a great Vice President. He's going to be great. Be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country. Make America great again. When they criticize it, they say, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is making America great again. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. It's very tough to fight it. And all of the people that did try and fight it have failed. But he's going to be with us for a long time, and it was an honor to select him. Great, great student at Yale. His wife was a great student at Yale. They met at Yale. These are two smart people. So, J.D., you're going to be doing this for a long time. Enjoy the ride. And a very special thank you to the extraordinary people of Milwaukee and the great state of... Oh, there they are. There they are. You are so easy to spot. And Green Bay's going to have a good team this year, right? They're going to have
Green Bay's going to have a great team. It's going to be
They're
terrific.
going to have a good team. Most of the audience doesn't like it, but it's true. You're going to have a very good team this year. And by the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here, creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote. I'll be honest about that. And I promise we will make Wisconsin great again. We're going to make it.
We're going to make it. It's going to be
Thank
terrific.
you, Mr. Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation. To every citizen, whether you're a young or old man or woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, black or white, Asian or Hispanic, I extend to you a hand of loyalty and of friendship. Together, we will lead America to new heights of greatness like the world has never seen before. We were right there in the first term. We got hit with COVID. We did a great job. Nobody knew what it was, but nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. And then we handed over a stock market that was substantially higher than just prior to COVID. Coming in, did a great job. Never got credit for that. We got credit for the war and defeating ISIS and so many things, the great economy, the biggest tax cuts ever, the biggest regulation cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much. We did so much. Right to try is a big deal.
It's a big
We got
deal.
right to try. They were trying to get that
Big
for
deal.
52
Gotta get
years.
that form is a big deal.
Somebody
You
is
gotta
terminally
try.
ill.
You
And by the way,
try.
there's nobody in this audience, but it does happen a lot. They're terminally ill and they can't use our new space age drugs and other things that we are way ahead. We have the greatest doctors in the world, the greatest laboratories in the world, and you can't do it. They've been trying to get that approved for 52 years. Wasn't that easy? The insurance companies didn't want to do it. They didn't want the risk. The labs didn't want to do it because if it didn't work, people are pretty far down the line toward death. They didn't want to do it. The doctors didn't want to have it on their records, so I got everybody into an office. 52 years they tried. Sounds simple, but it's not. And I got them to agree that somebody that needs it will, instead of going to Asia or Europe or someplace, or if you have no money going home and dying, just die. We got them to sign an agreement, agree to it, where they're not going to sue anybody. They're going to get all of this stuff. They're going to get it really fast. And what's happened is we're saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's incredible. Right to try. It's a great feeling. Under our leadership, the United States will be respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will doubt our might. Our borders will be totally secure. Our economy will soar. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony all throughout the world. But to achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent leadership. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in decline. We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and low-income families, and crushing, just simply crushing our people like never before. They've never seen anything like it. We also have an illegal immigration crisis, and it's taking place right now as we sit here in this beautiful arena. It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities all across our land. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Then there's an international crisis, the likes of which the world has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe and the Middle East. A growing specter of conflict hangs over Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines, and all of Asia. And our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III. And this will be a war like no other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration. It's time for a change. This administration can't come close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough, very fierce people. They're fierce people. And we don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce. Then they're fierce. So tonight, I make this pledge to the great people of America.
Make this pledge.
I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately, bring down interest rates, and lower the cost of energy. We will drill, baby, drill. Can you believe what they're doing? But by doing that, we will lead a large-scale decline in prices. Prices will start to come down. Energy raised it. They took our energy policies and destroyed them. Then they immediately went back to them, but by that time, so much was lost. But we will do it at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And we'll end lots of different things. We'll start paying off debt and start lowering taxes even further. We gave you the largest tax cut. We'll do it more. You know, people don't realize I brought taxes way down, way down, and yet we took in more revenues the following year than we did when the tax rate was much higher. Most people said, how did you do that? Because it was incentive. Everybody was coming to the country. They were bringing back billions and billions of dollars into our country. The companies made it impossible to bring it back. The tax rate was too high. And
I saw it. It's 10:08.
were far too great.
He started speaking
Changed both of them.
over
And
30 minutes
hundreds
ago.
of billions of dollars by Apple
When
and
they
so
gonna
many
wrap
other
this up?
companies were brought back into our nation, and we had an economy the likes of which no nation had ever seen. China, we were beating them at levels that were incredible. And they know it. They know it. We'll do it again, but we'll do it even better. I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing our border and finishing the wall, most of which I've already built. On the wall, we were dealing with a very difficult Congress. And I said, oh, that's okay. We won't go to Congress. I call it an invasion. We gave our military almost $800 billion. I said, I'm going to take a little of that money because this is an invasion. And we built, most of the wall is already built. And we built it through using the funds because what's better than that? We have to stop the invasion into our country that's killing hundreds of thousands of people a year. We're not going to let that happen. I will end every single international crisis that the current administration has created, including the horrible war with Russia and Ukraine, which would have never happened if I was president, and the war caused by the attack on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president. Iran was broke. Iran had no money. Now Iran has $250 billion. They made it all over the last 2.5 years. They were broke. I watched the other day on a show called Deface the Nation. Has anyone seen it? And they had a congressman who was a Democrat say, well, whether you like him or not, Iran was broke dealing with Trump. I told China and other countries, if you buy from Iran, we will not let you do any business in this country, and we will put tariffs on every product you do send in of 100% or more. And they said to me, well, I think that's about it. They weren't going to buy any oil. And they were ready to make a deal. Iran was going to make a deal with us. And then we had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again. And they took off all the sanctions and they did everything possible for Iran. And now Iran is very close to having a nuclear weapon, which would have never happened. This is a shame what this administration, the damage that this administration has done. And I say it often, if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. Only going to use the term once. Biden, I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. The damage that he's done to this country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Together we will restore vision, strength, competence, and we're going to have a thing called common sense making most of our decisions, actually. It's all common sense. Just a few short years ago, under my presidency, we had the most secure border and best economy in the history of our country, in the history of the world. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had never done anything like it. We were beating every country, including China, by leaps and bounds. Nobody had seen anything like it. We had no inflation, soaring incomes were going. Nobody can believe it. You can't believe what happened 4 years ago is happening now in reverse. And the world was at peace. Inflation has been a killer for our country. No matter what you make it, it doesn't matter because inflation is eating you alive. People that were putting away money, they were making great wages, the highest they've ever made, but they were putting away a lot of money. Now they are just being destroyed. They're not putting away anything. They're barely living. They're going into savings accounts. They're taking out their money to live because of inflation. Inflation, remember, it's called a country buster. You can go back to Germany from 100 years ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation. We've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had. But go back and see what's happened to those countries. We've had the worst inflation we've ever had under this person. But in less than 4 years, our opponents have turned incredible success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. By the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it. Thank you. Thank you. I like you too.
That part is true.
Thank you
He's
very
talking
much.
about blacks, how they're taking
Inflation
jobs
has
from
wiped out
blacks.
the life savings of our citizens and forced the middle class into a state of depression and despair. That's what it is. It's despair and depression. We cannot and will not let this continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. We're going to be a great nation again. Thank you. With proper leadership, every disaster we are now enduring will be fixed, and it will be fixed very, very quickly. So tonight, whether you've supported me in the past or not, I hope you will support me in the future, because I will bring back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. You don't even hear about the American dream anymore. With great humility, I am asking you to be excited about the future of our country. Be excited. Be excited. And by the way, the news reports, oh, look at all of those big networks. Look at them. They're all here. But every one of them has said this could be the most organized, best run, and most enthusiastic convention of either party that they've ever seen. Every single one. And it's true. It's true. And there's love in the room. There's great love in the room. So I better finish strong. Otherwise, we'll blow it. And we can't let that happen. Now, this was great. All of the great people that spoke, and everybody hit a home run. I mean, there's not one that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't great. Every single person. I refuse to be the only one. Don't do that to me. They're already getting ready. See, I gave them an idea. Now, this was a great convention. This was, I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with a first of all, look at these crowds. You'd never have this at a convention. Look at these crowds.
All right, I'm officially getting worn out by this. I think I've covered enough. So
love, it's about love.
I'm gonna wrap this up,
the
y'all.
entire Republican Party is formally adopted
In a second,
an
I
agenda
think
for
they've
America's
made their
renewal, and you
picks.
saw that
What's
agenda,
gonna happen?
and it's very
So
short.
it's Donald
compared
Trump.
to the long, boring, meaningless agendas of the past, including the Democrats. They write these things that are hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're done. In their case, fortunately, they don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a series of bold promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican House. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
That's what's up
We
for
have our
state
great
too, the House
Speaker
and the
House with
Senate.
us tonight, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Thank you. A Republican Senate, we have many senators here. And send me back to our beautiful White House just a few short months from now. We're talking about just months. It can't come fast enough. We have to get it done. First, we must get economic relief to our citizens. Starting on day one, we will drive down prices and make America affordable again. We have to make it affordable. It's not affordable. People can't live like this. Under this administration, our current administration, groceries are up 57%, gasoline is up 60 and 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled. And the fact is, it doesn't matter what they are because you can't get the money anyway. You can't buy houses. Young people can't get any financing to buy a house. The total household costs have increased an average of $28,000 per family under this administration. Republicans have a plan to bring down prices and bring them down very, very rapidly. By slashing energy costs, we will in turn reduce the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and all household goods. So much starts with energy. And remember, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country by far. We are a nation that has the opportunity to make an absolute fortune with its energy. We have it, and China doesn't.
China
Under
doesn't.
the Trump administration,
There's no
just
China.
3.5 years ago, we were energy independent. But soon we will actually be better than that. We will be energy dominant and supply not only ourselves, but we will supply the rest of the world with numbers that nobody has ever seen, and we will reduce our debt, $36 trillion. We will start reducing that, and we will also reduce your taxes still further. Next, and by the way, they want to raise your taxes 4 times. Think of it. And all my life, I grew up watching politicians. I always loved politics. I guess I was on the other side. I'd watch and they were always talking about, we will give you a tax cut. We will give you a tax cut. My whole life, I was watching, I will give you a tax cut, right, Mr. Congressman? That's all they talked about. This is the only administration that said, we're going to raise your taxes by 4 times what you're paying now, and people are supposed to vote for them? I've never heard it. You're paying too much. We're going to reduce.
All right. I'm going to end it right now, guys. I'm getting worn out. I'm waiting for him to stop. I'm waiting for him to stop. He's not going to stop talking. You think it's going to end?
Actually, incredible waste of taxpayer dollars that is fueling the inflation crisis. They spent trillions of dollars on things having to do with the Green New Scam. It's a scam. And that's caused tremendous inflationary pressures in addition to the cost of energy. And all of the trillions of dollars that are sitting there not yet spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, dams, and we will not allow it to be spent on meaningless green new scam ideas. And I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day 1. Thereby saving the U.S. auto industry from complete obliteration, which is happening right now, and saving U.S. customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car. And right now, as we speak, large factories just started.
So I'm going to go ahead and
are
stop
being
it right
built
here, y'all.
across the border in
But
Mexico.
it's still going on. I
with
don't
all
think
the other
he's going
things
to
happening
stop
on our
yet.
border.
I
And
don't
they're
know
being
how
built by
long,
China to make
I've
cars
been
and
up
to sell them into
early
our
this morning.
country.
I'm getting
No
worn out.
tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump, because we're going to bring back car manufacturing and we're going to bring it back fast. They're building some of the largest auto plants anywhere in the world. Think of it, in the world. We're going to bring it back. We're going to make them. We don't mind that happening, but
All right,
those
Princess
plants are
Leia.
going to be built in the United States, and our people are going to man those plants. And if they don't agree with us, we'll put a tariff of approximately 100 to 200% on each car, and they will be unsellable in the United States. We have long been taken advantage of by other countries. And think of it, oftentimes these other countries are considered so-called allies. They've taken advantage of us for years. We lose jobs, we lose revenue, and they gain everything and wipe out our businesses, wipe out our people. I stopped it for 4 years. I stopped it. And we're really ready to make changes like nobody had seen before. And remember, USMCA, I got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with USMCA, which is, they say, the best trade deal ever made. Actually, probably the best trade deal was the deal I made with China, where they buy $50 billion worth of our product. They were buying nothing. They buy $50 billion worth. They had to. But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with the China virus.
The China virus. Oh, I'm glad I got that. The China virus. It's from China.
We will not let countries come in, take our jobs, and plunder our nation. They come and do that. They plunder our nation. The way they will sell their product in America is to build it in America. Very simple. Build it in America and only in America. And this very simple formula, and Congress has to go along with us, and they will. This very simple formula will create massive numbers of
Thank you,
jobs.
Cheryl
We will
Latrell,
take
too,
over
by
the
your
auto industry
donation.
again,
Thank you very
and
much.
many,
Shout out to
hundreds of
Danielle.
thousands of jobs. We lost so
We're
many
gonna
jobs over the years.
wrap this thing
If
up,
you go
y'all.
back 20, 25 years, they've
Come on, Donald,
stolen,
wrap
going
this
to
up.
China and Mexico, about 68% of our auto industry manufacturing jobs. We're going to get them all back. We're going to get them all back, every one of them. At the center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips.
I thought he was talking about something else.
I got that by having dinner recently in Nevada, where we're leading by about 14 points. Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip. And it's a great building. And the waitress comes over. How's everything going? A really nice person. How's everything? Oh, sir, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips, tips, tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they be able to find him? She said, actually, and I didn't know this. She said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check. And they come in and they take so much of our money. It's just ridiculous. And they don't believe anything we say. And they've just
Y'all know
hired,
he's accepted the nomination. But yeah, we thank y'all for y'all donations tonight, man. I'm gonna hang it up. So there's my.
And I said, this shows the level of my, most people go out, they hire consultants, they pay millions of dollars. But I said to her, let me just ask you a question. Would you be happy if you had no tax on tips? She said, what a great idea. I got my information from a very smart waitress. That's better than spending millions of dollars. And everybody loves it. Waitresses and caddies and drivers and everybody's a large group of people that are being really hurt badly. They make money, let them keep their money. I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. Democrats are going to destroy Social Security and Medicare because all of these people, by the millions they're coming in, they're going to be on Social Security and Medicare and other things, and you're not able to afford it. They are destroying your Social Security and your Medicare. Under my plan, incomes will skyrocket, inflation will vanish completely, jobs will come roaring back, and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before, and we're going to do it very rapidly. But no hope or dream we have for America can succeed unless we stop the illegal immigrant invasion, the worst that's ever been seen anywhere in the world. There's never been an invasion like this anywhere. Third world countries would fight with sticks and stones not to let this happen. The invasion at our southern border, we will stop it, and we will stop it quickly. You heard Tom Homan yesterday. Tom Homan, put him in charge and just sit back and watch. Brandon Judd, the Border Patrol, he's incredible. These guys, they really, their job is a lot easier if they don't have to do anything, but they want to. They're patriots. Brandon Judd, Border Patrol, ICE. ICE goes out. You have to see what ICE does with MS-13. You have these are probably the worst gang, and ICE goes in there. And I know a lot of people on these rows here, and they're very tough people, but they don't want to do this job. They'll go into a pack of MS-13 killers. They're the worst, probably the worst gangs in the world. We have thousands of them. I moved thousands and thousands out in my 4 years. We moved them out, and it was a pleasure. But ICE would go right into a pack of these killers, and you see fists flying, you see everything flying, and then they take them. They put them in a paddy wagon. They take them back and they get them out of our country. And the other countries weren't accepting them back. And I called up and I said, tell them that we're not giving them economic aid anymore. And the next day I got calls from all of these countries that were terminated. Billions of dollars we spend on economic aid to countries that does us, frankly, no good. And the next day I was called by everybody. I couldn't take all the calls. Sir, what's the problem? I said, you won't take your killers back that you sent in caravans into America. You won't take them back. Well, sir, if you'd like us to, we would give very serious consideration to doing that. And within 24 hours, they were being taken back. For years and years, when I first came in, they said President Obama tried to get him to go back, and they wouldn't accept him. They'd put planes on the runway so you couldn't leave the plane. They'd close the road so you couldn't take the buses. They'd all have to turn back. As soon as I said no more economic aid of any kind to any country that does that, they called back and they said, sir, it would be our great honor to take MS-13. We love them very much.
All right. I'm going to wrap this thing up, y'all. Y'all take it easy and be safe. I've had enough. But yeah, he's doing he's got the nomination. It looks like he might even have the election. So we're going to wrap this up, y'all. But y'all be safe and be blessed. I'll see you all in the next one, okay? It's been another exciting edition of Random Topic Thursdays. If you love me for my time, pay me for my time. Drop something in the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Danielle. Follow me on Rumble. And also go to the Great American Laughs page on Eventbrite's. Buy your tickets now if you're in the Louisiana area, okay? Y'all be safe and be blessed.